Hello, lovelies. Welcome to the Go Pure Glow Show. My name is Stephanie. I'm a licensed clinical esthetician and the head of education here at Go Pure. And today we have a very special guest. We're going to have a lot of fun, and we are going to be talking all things skin hydration, skin wellness, and dramatically dewy. So I am so super excited for this chat. And I always want to start off with a little tidbit, but when you hop on, say hello, let us know where you're joining us from. We're going to be doing lots of giveaways throughout the course of the show, including the Dramatically Dewy. And if you stay until the end, we will be giving away a power trio of serums. And make sure you like, comment, and share the live. We have a few of you on right now. I don't think our big text has gone out yet to invite everyone to join, but for those of you that are on, say hello. Let us know where you're joining us from. I see Patience is on. I see Monica is on. Welcome, welcome. And I'm just so excited to have a really, really great chat today. And I did want to share a little fact and a little tidbit. So did you know that skin hydration really is so important for maintaining healthy skin? And when our skin gets dry, it not only gets dull and our lines and wrinkles become exaggerated, but it makes it less resilient to withstand environmental aggressors as well. And when I think of the words plumping, smoothing, soothing, hydrated, and glowy, these are all words that make me think of hydrated skin, well skin, healthy skin, and our superstar, the Dramatically Dewy Serum. So if you have used the Dramatically Dewy Serum, in the comments, let us know, and let us know what you think about it and if you use it in your skincare routine. It's such an amazing product, and it's really fun to talk about because it's so different from the other hydration supportive serums that are out there. But to get this show going, I figured that two hosts are better than one. So I wanted to introduce Dr. Khanna. She has been on live with us before. She is a board certified dermatologist in Orlando, Florida, and she is also on our dermatologist board of advisors. So she has a focus in integrative dermatology. She likes to combine the Eastern and Western medicine to address dermatologic conditions. And in her free time away from the clinic, she enjoys yoga, dancing, pickleball, spending time with her French bulldog. So I want to welcome back Khanna. Welcome, Dr. Khanna.
Thank you so much. That was such a warm introduction. I can say umpteen good things about you as well. And one of which is thank you for being our head of education, because I personally have learned so much from you as well. And I always enjoy these chats. So, again, thanks for having me, and looking forward to learning from you, learning together, and also hopefully our audience has some good questions.
I know. That's one of the funnest things with this is I love our chats. I mean, we can plan this all we want, but I know we just like love talking about this and having a great chat and chatting with the audience. And so Kaylee is in the background, and we always give shout outs to Kaylee and the rest of the team on the lives. They're so amazing. But we are going to be doing so many fun giveaways on this live. We're going to be giving away the Dewy throughout the live, and we're going to be doing a grand prize at the end, giving away our power trio of serums. And so when you all have questions, ask them in the comments. Ask your questions in the comments. If Kaylee sees something related to what we're talking about, she can pop it right up on the screen, and we can have a chat about your question too. So make sure you light up the comments, like, share, all of that. But how would you feel about just kicking off the show right away with a giveaway right out the gate to get everyone in the comments very excited for what we're going to do today?
Let's do it. Can I win? Just kidding.
You
Let's do
already
it.
won.
Yes, fine. Fair enough.
So everyone ask, if you have questions, ask them, and they're going to be choosing a winner for us. But I have a quick question for you while they're choosing a winner. when you first got the Dramatically Dewy serum and when you first tried the Dramatically Dewy serum, what did you think about it? What was your experience with that?
So I have had the good fortune of trying this serum, and I was kind of shocked by the fact that it wasn't clear like most of the serums are. Right, it has that white, kind of silky texture to it, and personally, I've enjoyed it a lot because it feels. With other hyaluronic acid serums, I almost feel that I have very dry skin.
Mhm.
So when I feel that I put them on and if especially if I don't put anything on after like a moisturizer, I almost feel dry and
Mhm.
like my skin is stretched tight. With
Yeah.
the dramatically dewy, I didn't feel that, and I think that's because of it has that blend of various extracts in it, and it's not just one HA.
Mhm.
So basically it was different than what I was expecting, but different in a good way.
Yeah. And it's funny, I see a comment, someone saying the white color threw me, like it threw them
Me
off.
too.
It's really different and really unexpected. And that's why I'm excited to kind of dive into this and talk about why it is different, why it's so cool and special, and then what it can do for people's skin. I saw someone in the comments even asking the difference between someone in their 60s versus someone in their 30s with like for Dramatically Dewy. Do you think it works just as well for someone in their 60s versus someone in their 30s?
Absolutely. I think it's safe probably for all ages, all skin types. I think somebody in their 60s probably needs it more just because with every decade, you slowly start to lose the HA production, the lipid production in the skin. But I think that both populations will benefit because if you're starting earlier, like in your 30s, which you're already starting to lose that HA production, the lipid production in the 30s, you will benefit. Would you, but how much you require, like the percentage by which you require it will be obviously more as each decade passes. But if you start that treatment early, then your skin will be more hydrated in later decades, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think that is such a great explanation. And ooh, we have a winner, the confetti.
I,
I love the confetti.
yay!
So, Heidi Hallows, congratulations. You are our first winner of the show for the Dramatically Dewy Serum. Congratulations. We're going to be doing giveaways all throughout the show. So, ask your questions. They go what we, there's so many questions and we love them. So, if we don't see it, I promise we're not ignoring you. We will try and get to them as we chat all about Dewy today and skin because obviously, Dr. Khanna, you are a dermatologist, you are the skin expert, and I love explaining really why something like this and something like the Dramatically Dewy and the ingredients are so important when we kind of talk about dehydrated skin. Because you mentioned as we age, we lose those lipids and our skin can become more dry and dehydrated. But um, what happens when our skin becomes dehydrated? What does it look like? How does it feel? Like, why, how does that impact the skin overall and skin wellness when our skin becomes dehydrated?
So, hydration is such an important component of skin health and just overall appearance of wellness, of youth, of radiance. So, obviously, as that starts to diminish, you'll not only notice kind of like the flakiness, the patchy, whether they be dry patches, red patches, but over time, that is actually indicative of the skin barrier's health.
Mhm.
So, you'll also start to notice that dry skin is also more prone to allergies, to irritation, even to infection, because as the skin barrier is impaired, as the skin opens up, uh, external pathogens can enter and create more havoc for us. And then obviously over time with less hydration, you'll notice more fine lines and wrinkles, and nothing good basically comes of it.
So, what other things aside from age can cause that barrier damage or skin dehydration? Like, what other factors should people be aware of?
This skin barrier is so delicate, right? We really need to treat it with respect and nourish it. So there are a lot of things in our environments that can contribute to something called transepidermal water loss, which transepidermal water loss means the amount of water that you're losing through your skin. There is a normal level of that, and then there are things that can accelerate that process, leading to dry, dehydrated, wrinkly, patchy skin. And some of those things are obviously over exfoliating, not hydrating it, not moisturizing it appropriately,
Mhm.
being in an environment with a lot of pollutants, dry weather. So depending on your climate, that can all affect it. So there are a lot of different things that can create that, aside from age, which I think was your initial question.
Yeah. No, and because there are those like those internal things, those external things, and I've always been such like a barrier first
Mm-hmm.
like skincare professional, because our skin barrier function is so important. And I don't think, you know, there's so many different hydration products out there, and you can put something on the skin that maybe keeps it hydrated for a little bit, but that's not doing anything long term, and it's definitely not really doing anything for your barriers. So we're talking about skin hydration, supporting it, skin barrier function. Like, in from your perspective, what makes the Dramatically Dewy so great for support? Just kind of overview, because I know we're going to dive in, everyone, we're going to dive into all the goodies, but just kind of an overview, like what makes Dewy so different for supporting hydration and the skin barrier.
So, as a general overview, it would be actually like with my background in integrative derm, right? The fact that you're blending like Eastern and Western, I think that's exactly what GoPure does with a lot of its um, products. And Dramatically Dewy is an example of that, in the sense that you are using traditional hyaluronic acids, multiple different molecular weights, as well as botanical extracts. And I think that that is what makes it different in a nutshell.
Okay. And I love that, because you see that in the Dewy, but like you said, you see that in our other products, the other serums that we have. Really, everything from every product that we have is that blend of those clinical actives, and then our botanicals really are botanical actives with real data behind them, real data sheets that, so we're not just like, I always joke that we're not just like punting some like plant extract into our formulas. They really are
No,
intentional. Um, and
with
just
data behind them. We love
yeah,
data.
yeah, for sure. And you brought up like integrative dermatology. I'm so curious about that. And so for anyone here who's kind of wondering about that, like what is the difference between like integrative dermatology, maybe how is it different maybe from other forms of dermatology, or how other people might practice or assess the
Well,
skin?
it's still a field that is relatively new. But you know how there's functional medicine for in
Mhm.
primary care, right? So it's basically like the functional medicine form of dermatology practice. So somebody who's an integrative derm will try to emphasize more of lifestyle supplements. And then, like I said, the Eastern and Western medicine kind of taking elements of both and integrating them. So you're not Eastern, you're not Western, you're kind of taking the both. Patients are more and more interested in what they can do that may cause minimal harm, and lifestyle practices they can employ. And so that's kind of the difference between like an integrative derm versus just a conventional dermatologist who only uses pharmacologic therapy.
Okay. And I love that, because you know, topical skincare is in everyone's daily routine, in my personal opinion, and that holistic approach is so important, especially when we're talking about skin wellness, like that,
Yes.
the well skin vibes that we want people to have, the well barrier, and not being dismissive about what, if you have a well formulated topical, like what it can really do for maintaining well, healthy skin. Um,
Hmm.
it's so important. And Kaylee, if you see any questions, feel free to just like pop them on the screen. We're just having like a great chat. And yes, to enter the drawing, we just keep asking questions. And they will see you, I promise. I saw a question about skin redness. Do you think something like Dramatically Dewy can help with redness in the skin?
Well, absolutely, because sometimes the redness is, like we said, a lot of times people have redness because they're not hydrated, because they are easily getting allergies or irritation from
Mhm.
some exogenous factor because their skin barrier is impaired. So I definitely think it would improve it. And then also just kind of that instantaneous soothing effect that you
Mhm.
feel when you apply the HA, the dramatically dewy, is something that I've experienced.
Yeah. And again, it's so tied into like skin hydration, skin barrier, those triggers. And it's so interesting because such a huge percentage of the population at this point self-identifies as having sensitive skin and
Mm-hmm.
having the the symptoms of sensitive skin and how it expresses both with that physical sensitivity, redness, reactivity, all of those things. So do you think that a product like this is different or just important generally because skin redness, skin sensitivity, and those concerns are just so prevalent right now in like the population and with people?
Mm-hmm. So I definitely think that this sort of product is kind of a, like I said before, safe for all skin types and almost necessary for all skin types, because hydration is never going to be a bad thing.
Mhm.
And I think it's light enough to where, even if, say, for example, some patients are concerned about being acne prone, it's not an occlusive, right?
Yeah.
It's not plugging anything. It's not occluding your pores. It's not comedogenic. So I think the answer to your question short was yes.
Yeah. It's like, okay, so because that's the thing is that one of the reasons I love Dramatically Dewy and I love recommending it is because, like you said, I feel like everybody can use it. The
Yeah.
ingredients in here, the application of it, like you said, you have dry skin. I have combination sensitive skin, but I'm also in my 40s. And so every few months, I feel like I have a different person's skin as I'm going through the natural aging process. I look in the mirror, I'm
I
like, who's that
know.
person? And so it's nice to have something that I feel like is generally applicable to. It's just one, I kind of joke, I'm like, it's just one of those, like, you just need to get it because it works, and it works in so many different ways for so many different people, especially with major skin concerns just becoming so common nowadays. um but let's kind of chat about the ingredients because we talked about the multiple weights of hyaluronic acid, the multiple forms. But can you explain to our lovely people on the live, what does that mean? When we talk about multiple weights of hyaluronic acid or multiple forms of hyaluronic acid, what does that mean? And kind of why does that matter or make it different or better?
So any given hyaluronic acid is, like I think I said, a humectant, right? So it draws water, so it holds water. So the more variants of that you have, the better it is, because they all work a little bit differently and they all penetrate a little bit differently. So that just means it's going to be all the more powerful, all the more hydrating. And then Dramatically Dewy also has that botanical extract, which I keep referring to vaguely, and now we can talk about, is that hydrocella, which is derived from a Australian hibiscus plant or flower. And so, sorry, my computer is shaking. And so that actually also contributes to the skin hydration. And so we're basically using a multi-targeted, multi-pronged approach to hydrate and nourish the skin.
And for anyone that doesn't know, like, about hyaluronic acid, because we talk about it in skincare, but can you just share a little bit about what hyaluronic acid is like for us in our skin, actually?
Yeah, so hyaluronic acid is actually a glycosaminoglycan,
I love that
fancy
word.
word for
I
some.
love that word.
It's a natural component of our body, right? It's part of
Yeah.
many of the matrices in the body. Um, and so it's not just in the skin, although majority percentage, like 50% of hyaluronic acid is actually in the skin, but hyaluronic acid also exists in the joints, in the eyes. It's
Mhm.
actually what people use in filler product when they're
Mhm.
injecting the cheeks, lips, or any of these injections. So it's something that your body naturally produces and then also naturally, unfortunately, loses over time.
Yeah.
So that is the importance of replenishing it, because the production, the endogenous production of that is declining. And so we're just basically trying to not necessarily reverse the process, but at minimum hinder it.
Yeah. Be supportive, support what
Yeah,
we're
support
naturally
it.
using,
Support.
because it's like, and it's so interesting how hyaluronic acid works and like is able to hold on to so much water in the skin. And when we're young, you know, our skin is plump and dewy and yeah,
Supple.
supple. Um,
Hmm.
but I think one thing that gets lost in like skincare conversations with topicals and just with hyaluronic acid is like how when we lose hyaluronic acid and those things, how it impacts the elastin in our skin and like the bounce. And so can you speak to that a little bit, like naturally, and then maybe why that might be something you want to consider in a topical when it comes to kind of that bounce of our skin and our skin's resilience?
Yeah, so it absolutely I mean, you pretty much summed it up, right? Like having less hyaluronic acid does affect the elasticity. And so you will notice that kind of like there's more tenting in the skin. It returns back to its normal state a lot slower. You will notice more sag, more indentations in the form of fine lines and wrinkles. And all of this is happening with decreased hydration, with the decreased production and support of that elastin and collagen in our skin.
Yeah. And someone was asking, can you use too much hyaluronic acid?
You know, honestly, it's never a good thing to answer that question with a no, but I have yet to see, irritate. Fine, with other various actives, we have seen irritation. Somebody or the other will tell you they've seen irritation. I haven't yet seen that with HA. Um, so, but I would use it as suggested, the
Yeah.
once or twice a day. But so far, I'll tell you as a derm, I've seen a lot of things. I haven't seen overuse or irritation or allergy to HA,
Yeah.
hyaluronic acid.
Well, and I think that's it, and it is a great question because basic hyaluronic acid, like straight up hyaluronic acid, you will see in a ton of skincare products, right? And even a
Yes.
lot of hydration serums will just have, you can see it say hyaluronic acid, but we know as skincare professionals, there's a lot of forms of hyaluronic acid now. And like in the Dewy, those different molecular weights, you know, you have hydrolyzed hyaluronic acid, sodium hyaluronate, those are all forms. And when you see different things in a lot of products, someone might be concerned, like, am I getting too much of a good thing?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it seems to be pretty well
Well
tolerated.
tolerated.
And you can put too much in a single formula and then it'll just turn into like a lump. But
For sure, for sure. Or too much injected HA, for
I
sure.
for sure. We have another winner, Cheryl Unger. Congratulations. You won our Dramatically
Yay,
Dewy
Cheryl.
serum. Thank you everyone so much for asking questions. Leaving your comments there. I know we have, and we're going to talk about use also, what you can use together. I've seen a question come up a couple times, kind of comparing our Dramatically Dewy serum to our Hydrate and Smooth serum. Have you tried the kind of the original hyaluronic acid, triple hyaluronic acid we had that was in our power trio before we launched the
Dramatically dewy? I don't think I did. I think that predates me.
Okay. So, and because I just want to answer this because it came up, because this is kind of what Dr. Khanna was speaking to about kind of that clear formula. So the Hydrate and Smooth serum is going to be, it has 3 different forms of hyaluronic acid. So it has a hydrolyzed hyaluronic acid, sodium hyaluronate, and a tamarind seed, which is basically like a botanical hyaluronic acid alternative. It also has vitamin E. So it's a great skin hydrator. And I saw the question was asked about mature skin. This is just, you have those 3 weights, but you have the hydrocella, you have those olive emollients, you have vitamin B5, and the things that actually support the lipid barrier that Dr. Khanna had been referring to. So for dry, mature skin, I really think that, and you can speak to that just based on kind of the basic ingredients I said. Like, I personally think that it is an elevated version, and especially for more dry and more mature skin, it's going to be a better option, just personally.
Definitely sounds like it. And I mean, just looking at the texture of the
Yeah.
two side by side, the way that you just
Mhm.
demonstrated, I mean, it definitely even just appears that the latter is more hydrating, more of more supportive of that skin barrier and the natural aging process.
Yeah, for sure. And the hydrocella, because I do want to touch on that too, and why it does make it so different and differentiated. because it's a cool ingredient. And we have such great clinical data behind it about it supporting the natural skin hydration, supporting barrier function, and helping the skin stay looking and feeling hydrated up to 72 hours. Is that something that you see in a lot of like hydration serums, like that 72-hour like hydration impact? Or do you feel like that's something that maybe is a little special about the Dewy?
I absolutely do. As I mentioned that hydrocell before, I think that um, typically when you have an HA product, a hyaluronic acid product, you might notice that it has immediate plumping effect. Even say, for example, if you use it on lips or if you use it on the face, maybe some immediate effect. But then the next after a few hours or the next morning, for example, it's gone. So for this to actually have that a long-term benefit of 3 days, 72 hours, that is, I would say, significant and absolutely sets this dramatically dewy product apart.
I love that you mentioned that instant effect. Can you kind of speak to the difference between like the instant effect of using something like Dramatically Dewy, using the Dramatically Dewy versus now the things we're learning about the long-term use on like skin, the look of skin elastin. And, we talked about kind of other fun ways to use it before, but I'd love to hear your kind of thoughts on the difference between the short-term impact, which we love in skincare of something like this, and then what, like the benefit of using it long-term.
Yeah, so the benefit of using something like a dramatically dewy product long term is that it's, again, if your skin is naturally not doing something that you want it to do to maintain in the second, third, fourth decades of life, that quality that we love and that we start to notice is decreasing
Mhm.
starting in mid 20s really. You start to notice that it's a bit drier, sebaceous gland production starts to decrease. So it really needs that, you need that help externally. And so, yeah, using it, for the next few days to weeks is beneficial. But where you're really going to derive the change in your appearance is using it for decades, is to use it for 10 years, 20 years, and that's when you're going to realize that had you not been using a given product, for example, the dramatically dewy, your skin have a lot less, will have less wrinkles and sagging and irritation in 10 years than it would have had you not been using that product. So the point here in a nutshell is that it is beneficial to use a product like this long term, as long as it's safe, and which we are saying it is safe. For I haven't met a person that hasn't tolerated it well.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
Yeah. And I think I love the way you took that forward looking approach, because I think so much skincare gets pigeonholed into like looking back and trying to undo stuff that has happened to our skin and the state of
Mm-hmm.
our skin. And I love that we're talking about that specifically with Dewy, because someone asked like define instant. What do we mean like instant? That when that hyaluronic acid can plump the look of the skin, minimize the appearance of lines and wrinkles, support that skin hydration short term. But when we talk about long term, it's like you not just looking back and trying to undo those things, but really the impact of like how we're setting our skin up for success in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years when we're using these products, because that's such an important part of skincare, like in skin wellness, is like setting your skin up for success, for better aging and better wellness long term. And I love that you said that, because
Set skin up for success. I love the
it
way that
is,
sounds.
it does, because that's such an important part of skincare and skin wellness in the big picture. Like why we choose these ingredients, why we're not just looking to like put a band-aid, I guess, on like the condition of the skin.
Yes, I use that all the time in clinic. Like, we're not just trying to put a band-aid on it. We are trying to support and build good habits. And now I'm going to say, set your skin up for success.
For set your skin up for success and well skin.
Yeah.
So we had lots of questions about when to use it, how to use it, and maybe what Dewy pairs with. So I'd kind of like to talk about like the real world application of
Hmm.
using the Dewy, using it in a day and night skincare routine, and maybe like other products we would want to pair it with. So I saw a question. We're gonna can Dramatically Dewy be used day and night? I saw that
Yes.
question.
You want me to answer or are you
Yes,
answering?
I'm gonna be throwing some questions at you and having you answer.
Okay. So I definitely think we mentioned before that you can use it day and night. It's a perfect way to seal whatever else you may have other if you're using other actives, for
Mhm,
example. It's a perfect thing to use after that. Some actives actually you may maybe notice even the reason I like it is sometimes with I have more sensitive skin, so I still like to use actives, but they give me a bit of a tingly, irritated sensation, and I find that the HA, the dramatically dewy, soothes that.
mhm.
So yes, it absolutely can be used twice a day, and it, honestly, you're deriving more benefit by doing using it as such.
Yeah. It's just like double the fun. Some ingredients you get too much of a good thing if you use it day and night, but this is a really great one to pair with other actives. So you mentioned using it after your active. So can you kind of walk through, in your opinion, where it would fit in your skincare routine? And because I know how I like to recommend it, but I love hearing how you would recommend it, like where it fits in the grand scheme of like cleanse, tone, treat, moisturize, protect, and like where maybe if you're using it with a vitamin C or with a retinol, like what order you would want to layer them in.
So usually, I mean, say you're saying cleanse, tone, treat, it would be right after treat and kind of a component of moisturize, right? Because it is moisturizing. So you would do it, like I said, after the treat is where you use an active.
Mhm.
And so that is basically where it fits in. What you it's a pro tip you do want to keep in mind is if you are showering or washing your face, you want to pat dry, not completely rub the moisture off because HA is holding water. That's the job of it. So hyaluronic acid in dramatically dewy, the three different types, what they are doing is holding on to water. If you don't have water on your skin, then it's not going to work. It's or you're not deriving the max benefit.
Yeah.
So if you could do it that way, or you could get one of those misty, like thermal spring water, or
I
yes,
use my giant
is that
Evian.
Evian? Oh,
Yeah, it's a
fancy.
giant Evian face
I use LRP, but that works too. So she's got that her thermal spring water there,
mask.
especially if you're in dry climates. The combination of the thermal spring water
Mhm.
plus the dramatically dewy is going to be a game changer for your skin. I really think
Yeah.
it is. And then to use it kind of with that, like if you were talking about the retinoid or the vitamin C, if you are able to tolerate a vitamin C and a retinoid at the same time, you could do the vitamin C, the retinoid, and then the HA.
Mhm.
If that's a bit too sensitivity inducing, which for some it is, then you can do the vitamin C in the morning because it's an antioxidant and it's making sure that it's battling all of those pollutants and things that we mentioned earlier that produce free radicals. So you use the vitamin C in the day, you use the dramatically dewy right after that. And then again at night when you're doing your retinoid, then you'll use the dramatically dewy right after that. So after the treat step is
Mhm.
the moisturize step, and there you have it.
Yeah. And I love having the discussions about where it fits in a routine because for as long as I've been doing this, like that's one of the reasons why I got into education because I think as skincare professionals, there's so much we can take for granted about what we know and the things we like to try and play with. And in this situation, you can do this and try this, but just knowing and giving confidence to everyone here about how they can use it, where it fits in their routine, what's the best practice, like it's always some of the most helpful information I think we can always share are just those things about how to use it in daily life. And I love
Agree, because it's sorry, I was
no
gonna
no
say it's actually not completely intuitive,
yeah
and I think for us it feels that way, but it's really helpful to be able to, I mean, and like categorize things
mhm,
and give you like a 1, 2, 3 step 1, 2, 3, and to simplify it because a lot of the times there are so many products out there, it's kind of overwhelming. Actually, it's very overwhelming.
yeah. And I love that you brought up the spritz because we've even had some questions about product pilling. And like I live in a place that's super dry. Denver is so dry and products behave so differently depending on your environment. And having that damp skin is so important, especially if you don't have environmental moisture, because hyaluronic acid is so great at actually pulling moisture from the environment. But if you don't have enough moisture, it's not going to do that. But even when
Hmm.
you're layering, so for any of you that were wondering about any like pilling with anything in your skincare routine, one of my best tips, like Dr. Khanna said, is to get just like a spray, like a mineral thermal water. Like I've used LRP, the Evian, and just give your face a spritz in between and it just re-dampens the surface, and it can really prevent any like pilling or anything that might happen if your products are stacking a little bit. And you can just more create the optimal environment for product absorption. Yes, and it is very moisturizing. Now, and someone's saying rose water. They love using rose water. I love rose water
Ooh,
too. That's a
yeah,
good
me too. That is a good one. It smells nice too.
Yeah. So someone's asking, can we use any misting spray or setting spray from makeup we already own? So setting spray is going to be different than like a hydration spray. So not like a makeup type spray that's going to set your makeup. You really want to use something that's more skincare based. I like using like the thermal water, mineral water, or rose water, something like very like straightforward like that when I'm doing that. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but I wouldn't use a setting
No,
spray.
I agree. I wouldn't use a setting spray. I
Yeah.
was thinking, do I know? Is there a different setting spray that I'm not aware of? But yeah, if it's just the typical one that you put on after makeup, that would not have the same function as kind of like a thermal spring water, for example.
Yeah. So someone's saying, I thought you use your serums first, then your firm and lift, then moisture. So, okay, let's talk about pairing. Let's just go through specifically with the power trio, because I'm seeing a lot of questions about vitamin C, about retinol with Dewy, those specifically. We just talked about layering, but I do want to spend time while we have it to talk about specifically, like we talked about the results with the Dramatically Dewy, but like leveling up our skincare results with more serums, with more actives, and them playing together, because we know that different ingredients do different things. And when we have different concerns with our skin, the best way to tackle it is from like a multifunctional approach. And when we have different things we use day and night and use together, we can just get better benefits. So I just would love your perspective on like the Dewy with the power trio of serums. And if someone was like, should I get just the Dewy, or should I, use other active serums? What's the best approach? What do you recommend? And then maybe we'll talk about how they play together as well.
So, I mean, it's obvious that more to a certain degree is better, right?
Yeah.
So if you're going to use more actives, as long as they're tolerated well, of course, then it is definitely better to get multiple things that will have a, like we talked about, multi-pronged, multi-mechanistic approach to your skin concerns. A very common one is aging, right? So, for example, if you were to just use the Dramatically Dewy, is that supporting healthy aging, skin wellness, etc.? Yes, but then you also still want to, you still are exposed to all of the, exogenous things that create free radicals. You still are having the loss of collagen in your skin, for example. So you still want to use other actives if you possibly can. So what I really like about the Power Trio, for example, is it's kind of something that, and like a nice entry point into skincare, kind of takes the thought process out of it and all the guesswork out of it, and it's like pretty much 9 out of 10 people you could be like, here, this is the Power Trio, start using it, see what it does for your skin, chances are you're gonna love it, and then if we still feel that there are gaps in the treatment, we can always add on. But it's a good place to kind of start. And definitely with skincare, yes, and also more is better, but less is more. I use both of these. So less is more. To you don't want 10 steps. So to have that one active in the morning, one active in the night, sealed in with the Dramatically Dewy is kind of the way that I like to do it. And like I said, it's a great starting point, and also consistent part of your regimen that you are safe to use for the years going forward. That will absolutely, you'll continue to derive benefit from that.
Yeah. And we have a winner. I love the confetti.
Me too. And it announces it for us.
I know. I need that. So, Donita Winters, congratulations. You won our Dramatically Dewy serum. Thank you, everyone that's continuing to participate, ask questions. And I see so many more about like the trio, the actives, what actives mean. So we'll get to those questions. But congratulations, Donita. Keep it up in the comments and we will be choosing more winners. And remember, at the end, we have our grand prize of the whole power trio. But someone just asked a question. I know we've touched on it, but I want to address it specifically. Can we use more than one serum in a skincare routine?
Yeah, well, absolutely. Hence the advent of the power trio, right? So
Yeah.
actually, we encourage it. In most cases, we encourage it. I mean, say you are post in the 20s, I start telling people to use a few different things, just, especially if they come to me with a given skin concern. If you're a teenager, I usually don't say that. Again, unless you have like one concern that just is refractory to basic treatment. But yes, it's absolutely safe to use
Yeah.
more than one serum, and in fact you typically want to start doing that because you will derive more benefit.
Yeah, it's to me, it's just like you get this synergy with your routine. Sometimes where it's not like 1+1 = 2, 1+1 can start equaling 3 or 4 with
Or
results,
10.
or 10 because of
Mhm.
how the ingredients work together. And with the power trio, they really are formulated to work together in your day and night skincare routine. But like you said, to still be tolerable,
Yes.
because that's such an important thing. Is if you have products that are not tolerable and they cause issues, then you're not going to get results and you're not going to want to use them. So that's a big thing too, is these are formulated to work together and to be tolerable and easy on the skin, but still very potent in targeting your skin concerns. If you're using a couple serums, okay, just we'll do some fun rapid fire. If we're using during the day, if we're using the vitamin C Brighten and Even and the Dramatically Dewy, which one do you layer first?
I personally would do the vitamin C and then the dramatically
Yes.
dewy.
And then at nighttime, if you're using the Retinoid Firm and Lift and the Dramatically Dewy, which one would you layer first?
Firm and lift retinoid, then dramatically dewy.
Yeah.
This is
I know
fun.
it was fun, but that's the thing, is that like I just love that we get to be on here and helping answer questions and making everyone just feel super confident in how to use their products. I also saw a question. We were throwing around the word actives a lot, and we know that there is multiple actives in each one of these concerns. But someone was like, "What does actives mean?"
So when I say actives, it's kind of an umbrella term. Sorry, I didn't realize that was not obvious. Is an umbrella term for a specific, typically clinical grade ingredient that can target your given concern. So say you have acne or even fine lines and wrinkles, or actually I'm going to say retinoid. So retinoid, tretinoin, retinol, that is an example of an active. Vitamin C, again, is an example of an active because uh, it is an active ingredient, meaning the effective ingredient that is going to be the major ingredient that's targeting your concern.
Yeah, perfect. It's like,
Did I say it?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, and one thing I do want to say too, because we've touched on how many different ingredients we have in here and why it is different. Like the Dramatically Dewy has 3 different weights of hyaluronic acid, so 3 different ingredients at active levels, and the hydrocella and the vitamin B5. The Brighten and Even serum has the Kakadu plum and another stable vitamin C and ferulic acid. In the Firm and Lift, we have the Granactive retinoid and the
And
bakuchiol.
bakuchiol.
And when you see on here, you see a percentage. And when we say active, how important is it to you as a dermatologist to know that the ingredients, you're not just putting an ingredient in there, but you're having it at a certain level? Can you speak to that? The difference between like an active ingredient and actually using it at an active level?
Absolutely, because you can have, you know, 1% of something and it not do of a given thing. Like obviously a tretinoin 1% is very high.
Yeah.
So but you can have a very low percentage of something, and people can, like different skincare companies will say, oh, we have vitamin C, but it's not actually the correct vitamin C
Yeah.
or the correct percentage that you actually
Yeah.
require or that has been studied to solve a particular problem.
Yeah.
So it's definitely important that you know that these active ingredients are actually going to work and resolve the issues. They're not just there floating around in a liquid, and
Yeah.
you're just doing something without actually resolving your issues.
Yeah. I mean, we really do go with, it's not just marketing, it's not just marketing levels, really, active levels of these ingredients with real clinical studies behind them that show the impact that they have, on your skin concerns. And the hydrocella we talked about, when we say, improves the look of like skin moisturization, skin hydration, plumpness for 72 hours, that's based on data and use at a specific level. So that's why we have the percentages on here too. So you guys know, but I love that you mentioned the small amounts, because even with hyaluronic acid, like the hydrolyzed forms of hyaluronic acid, those very advanced forms, it's a fraction of 1% that you need, and that you don't really want too much. Because someone said, can you use too much? Well, the way you use too much is if you put too much in a formula, it turns solid. So I like those certain ingredients, the active levels are really tiny amounts sometimes, but that's where you want them. Sometimes 1%, sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 10 or above,
yeah,
depending on the product. I love that. And we have so many people asking questions. Okay, so mature skin, best serums for mature skin. That's a great question, because that's something that we do get asked a lot when it comes to maturing and mature skin. What do you think is what serums are best for mature skin?
well, truly all of the things that we've mentioned. So reason being, collagen, this is one of my favorite fun facts. So, with menopause in the first 5 years, collagen declines by 30%, right? So, and remember, there is also the perimenopausal period. So your skin's starting to change even before menopause, and like in the decade or two before. So in your 30s and 40s, the one of the major things that you'll start to notice is that dryness. Like we've already talked about, the decreased hyaluronic acid production within your skin, the decreased lipid production, the sebaceous glands, the oil glands that you naturally have. Those are the glands that you curse as a teenager that you want in your 40s and beyond. You want those glands to be working for you, to be replenishing your lipid layer and your skin barrier. So dramatically Dewy supports that. Then the collagen, like we talked about, the collagen declining, what is going to support that? Well, you're going to decrease further breakdown of that collagen by using an antioxidant, like in that brighten and what is it? Brighten and tone?
Bright and even.
Bright and even. I can't keep these. The vitamin C serum with the kakakudu plum. Okay, that one, that serum, you're going to use as you're going to decrease the breakdown of that collagen, because free radicals and reactive oxygen species are the ones that are breaking down that collagen as we are aging, right? And then that retinoid is going to further upregulate your endogenous production of collagen. And what I really like about that serum also is that it not only has the retinoid, but it also has bakuchiol. So they both work in a similar fashion, but obviously two different mechanisms of action. And bakuchiol is also very well tolerated, safe in pregnancy. So I'm like so thrilled to have a product that has both. One of my favorite products, retinol, obviously, and then bakuchiol as well. It is it's a groundbreaking product, I think.
Yeah. And I like that you mentioned the tolerability of it too, because mature skin, because we've spoken about it, how it's unique because you have that decreased lipid production, that impaired barrier function. So you're not making as much of those natural oils in your skin that make it soft and supple, but also protect it from irritation, not just from external factors, but from products. And so aside from the active ingredients that are targeting the visible signs of aging, for mature skin, like I personally think tolerability is really important to still be able to use those actives, but use them in a tolerable form when your skin is mature, because it's going to be more prone to sensitivity probably. And I love that the Granactive retinoid is a direct acting retinoid, so it doesn't need to convert in the skin, but it's so much more stable and tolerable than other retinoids and retinol. And like you said, bakuchiol is so fantastic. And we do use it at that active level. And it is so much easier to tolerate than retinol. So you get those two different mechanisms of action, but also in forms that are easier to tolerate when you have mature skin, and your skin might be more vulnerable to irritation. And that's also why I like, and so I'd love your perspective on that. Like, with the Dewy, because it supports skin hydration and barrier function, do you like using a serum like that when you're using actives to even help keep the skin happier and more protected? I guess that's the easiest way to say it. When you're using actives that maybe, you know, in certain situations can be potent and a little harder on the skin to tolerate sometimes. Do you like pairing those two?
Absolutely, absolutely. So that is why sometimes if you notice that, you are a bit drier, a bit have that sensitive skin type,
Yeah,
what you could do is even start using something like a dramatically dewy for the first few weeks to support that skin, hydrate the barrier, and then start employing those other two actives, or like introducing
yeah,
slowly one at a time to make sure that you can tolerate them.
yeah,
But it definitely does allow you to better tolerate things that will ultimately benefit your skin, but you have to take a step-by-step approach, and that dramatically dewy is a great first step
yeah.
in basically strengthening your skin.
Yeah. And that's why I love the Dewy too, because it has standalone benefits, but it has supportive benefits too when you're using actives. And I do want to say, like, we do extra RAPT testing, a dermatologist tolerability test on all of our products. We've never not even just failed a test. We've never had a single reaction in our tests. So we do additional testing, and we go out of our way to make sure the actives like the Kakadu Plum, it's so easy to tolerate for all skin types. The Granactive Retinoid, so easy to tolerate. Bakuchiol, so easy to tolerate. And then we do the testing. But then when you also pair it with another product like Dewy, you're just going to get great potent actives, great results, but also your skin is going to stay happy.
Yeah.
And that's so important. Oh, we have a winner. Yay. Michelle Dole. Congratulations.
Hey,
You won our
Michelle.
Dramatically Dewy serum. And we're going to be doing the grand prize here really soon. So stay tuned. We're going to be giving away the entire Power Trio.
Lucky
Very
winner.
soon. And so I want to check now, if you guys have questions that we've missed. We would love to just have like a little Q&A session here with Dr. Khanna before we announce the grand prize winner. So someone's asking, are we Leaping Bunny approved? Yes, we are. We're actually double cruelty-free certified. So we do not test on animals, but we are fully not just Leaping Bunny approved, but we have 2 different cruelty-free certifications. So that's a yay. Great question. Okay, so I've seen a lot of questions about niacinamide, and the niacinamide isn't in the Power Trio, but if someone were using niacinamide, and I love our 10% niacinamide booster as well, where would you say niacinamide fits into a routine if someone is using the Power Trio?
So if you're using the Power Trio, you can actually. I find that you even though it's 10%, so very potent and works well.
Mhm.
I found that it's actually quite also well tolerable.
Yeah,
So you guys are doing it right for sure. So you could put it either in the morning or at night, whichever. So depending on which one you tolerate better, the vitamin C or the retinoid, the Grand Active Retinoid, you could decide which one you feel less irritation with. If you feel no irritation, you can honestly put it wherever you like right after. So again, it's in the treat step
yeah,
before the hyaluronic acid,
yeah,
before the dramatically dewy. That's where I
yeah,
personally would put it. And I would, if you are noticing any sort of irritation or mild sensitivity with the other 2 actives in the Power Trio, so the vitamin C or the retinoid,
mhm,
if you notice more sensitivity with one or the other, I would pair it with the one that you notice less
yeah,
sensitivity with, because all too many actives at once can wreak havoc. Like I said, I haven't noticed this happen with the niacinamide or with any Go Pure product yet. So truly, you can put it in your active step, in your treat step, wherever you like, in the morning or at night.
yeah.
I don't know if you have a different answer, Stephanie.
No, and I always feel like we're so aligned on our recommendations, which I love, but I use niacinamide twice a day, but I have combination skin, and one of my main
Mm-hmm.
skin concerns is like large pores, pore congestion, and like a very oily like forehead. And so I love it twice a day, but yeah, same thing where it falls in that treatment step, but I like to do my core active first, whether it be my vitamin C or my retinol. I like to give that just like a minute on the skin and then use my niacinamide and then go in with something like the Dewy or hydration. So exact same where I consider
Yeah.
it I kind of talk about like the ABCs of skincare layering, where it's like in the treatment, it's like your most active first, then your booster and barrier support, like the sidekick, and then skin
Huh.
conditioners and spot treatments. So that's kind of like my ABCs. So yeah, it's like kind of the sidekick, the booster, the second fiddle, but still great. So after my core active, and that's yeah,
Nice and easy. I like that.
yeah. So that's, but again, and I did see a question about like the importance of skincare layering and the order. And I would love your perspective on this because I know that our products are formulated really well. And I also know as a professional, I like to give a recommendation as a starting place, but it's everyone's routine and you can always play around with order of application. But how important is the order of serum layering? Because I never want people to stress, but I
Yeah,
always
I
want their
agree.
opinion for
I
sure.
agree. I think that there's a lot of importance placed on it. I think the reason that you want to put your most active, again, we keep using the word active, but you
But I
put
love
your
it.
most potent ingredient first is because you're wanting to treat something and you're wanting to achieve a change in the skin. So vitamin C, for example, if you're looking to brighten dark spots, you want to get that vitamin C on your skin. Another thing I like to say is thinnest to thickest, right? So the thin serums first, or like a toner, then a serum, then a moisturizer.
Mhm.
And the reason that is it also helps with the pilling.
Yeah,
So that is those are some, and then you also want the dramatically dewy, like a hyaluronic acid, and then a moisturizer to kind of seal everything in and lock it in. So there's a reason for it. If you do it a different way, it's not necessarily bad or
yeah,
wrong, but it again, the most effective way is kind of the way that we are prescribing, so to
yeah.
speak.
It's not like the most active application, but there are some situations where the most active application isn't always the best. Like when we talk about retinol sandwiching or different ways you can
Fair enough.
buffer. And
Hmm.
so like that's why I'm saying like when we talk about it, we're always going to be sharing like this is the most active application. This is a great starting point, but skincare is so subjective. And these products are formulated to work very well, work well together. And so don't be afraid to play with your skincare routine too, because in some cases, the most active application might not be your jam if you have more sensitive skin. You might want to apply your retinol last after your moisturizer or sandwich to buffer it. Because it's actually not the most potent application, you will still get results. It just might be the way that's happier for your skin. And so I know like we never want people to stress. It's just more like this is kind of a great starting point.
Generalization,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it is the most we've said the word active so many times,
I
but
know,
it's like
I'm
such
like,
a good word. It's
I
such a
need
good
more
word in
synonyms.
skincare. No, but it like I think in skincare, like it makes sense to us because there's such a meaning to it. When someone asks, it's like a thing that's meant to do the job at a certain level, you know,
That you want.
that you want to target a
Yes.
concern. And so for us,
Yeah.
it has meaning, but also active is like, it feels active on the skin. You might
Yeah, it's
have
like, ooh,
sensation
it's
thing.
working.
It's like in there doing the karate stuff. Like that's what I think. But it kind of cracks me up. I'm like,
Sounds
no,
powerful, that's
it
why.
is. All right. Do we have any last couple questions? Okay, no, that's a great question because I saw something about, someone wanting to try the power trio, wondering if it will work for their lines, wrinkles, concerns, and then someone being concerned if like skincare won't work over the age of 60. So what would you say to someone if they're concerned, like, will these products not work if I'm over a certain age?
So I never say that.
Yeah.
I think skincare products will always work
Yes.
to a degree. I'm not gonna lie and say that it wouldn't have been better had you come to me in your 40s and we started, a skincare regimen at that time. But to start in your 60s is definitely not too late. It's not too late to start in your 70s, 80s. I mean, you can always improve upon your baseline, right? It just means that had you, like we were talking about earlier, had you set your skin up for success in your 30s, 40s, for your 50s, 60s, is it better? Yes. But does that mean that it's too late to start a skincare regimen in your 60s? Absolutely not.
No.
And that's when you start to notice the changes. And that's when you realize, oh, I actually want to do something about this because I'm
Yeah.
unhappy with it. And there absolutely are many things we can do. So
Yeah.
fear not.
And but it's also like there's so many reviews that we have, and just so many of you women in the comments too, shouting out your age and saying like these work for me. And sometimes it's
Yay.
not even about like will it work? It's just as we age, our cell turnover slows, and that can extend the timeline to maybe see those initial results. But also, I think sometimes we put too short of a timeline on skincare. I love that you mentioned like 5 years, 10 years. I know even the difference in my skin now that I'm in my 40s, like the condition of my skin, how it's improved since I started using Go Pure over an extended period of time. And so sometimes, even as we age, just knowing like we just kind of shift certain timelines on results because of how our skin is operating at that age and the condition it might be into when we start getting going on products. But, and yes, consistency is key. I love that in the comments. But the reviews and all of you all shouting out and sharing your journey, that means more than I think anything we can say, because there are so many of you shouting out
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
and letting people know what works for you, and what you found with using Go Pure products. So awesome. What are some of the skin concerns you have recommended Go Pure to your, okay, so if you're saying Go Pure Power Trio, what are some top concerns that would be great for the Power Trio? Someone saying, I have these concerns. What are the main,
So
when would you describe this?
kind of like we mentioned, I see in my clinic a lot of hyperpigmentation. I see a lot of people just saying, oh, dullness, or oh, these fine lines are starting to bother me. I don't like the appearance of my pores. Oh, I don't like the texture of my skin, like those kinds of things. So basically, I kind of listed several very different concerns, and it can, like I said, it's a good starting point for kind of all of those,
Yeah,
and a safe starting point for all of those.
yeah. Because we know like vitamin C, retinol, even hyaluronic acid and those things, they really do. It's not just one thing they do. They target the appearance of so many things like lines and wrinkles, visible sun damage, dark spots, hyperpigmentation, skin texture. And it is like the trio together is that the multifunctional approach. So like, yes, we know vitamin C is a superstar for brightening the look of the skin, dark spots and hyperpigmentation, and antioxidant power, but it does improve the appearance of lines and wrinkles too, with how it's collagen supportive. And the same thing with retinol, all of the things that it can do too. And that's why I like the Power Trio. And like you said, it's such a great starting point because it's such an easy, I don't know if you think it, to me, it's an easy recommendation. When someone
I
comes
think
with
it is, yeah.
so many concerns, it's just like, here you go. Start here, do this, try these. It has
Talk to me in a few months.
just start and do this. Just use.
Yes,
I'm always like, just use them, just try them, because they work together on so many concerns. It's so easy to tolerate. Different ages, different skin types. It's just such an easy recommendation. That's just my
agreed.
opinion.
I like easy.
Yes, it is. And I think so many of you have had that experience as well. Um,
Yeah.
and for those of you, if we didn't get to your comments, we have our amazing customer service team in the comments answering questions. And we've had such a great chat here today. I think we're ready to pick our grand prize winner. I don't want to keep you too. I could talk to you all night long. So
Yes, Stephanie, I agree. We'll have to have another chat
I
soon.
know, a little après moment maybe in Aspen.
Absolutely.
Congratulations, Judith Barlow. You won our Power Trio.
Wow.
So that is an amazing, amazing prize. And I just appreciate everyone in the comments. I appreciate our customer service, just being so helpful. And then especially a very special thank you to Dr. Khanna. Make sure you follow Dr. Khanna on all the socials. It's Trisha Khanna MD. We have it at the bottom of the
Aw.
screen. So make sure you follow Dr. Khanna. She shares such great insights, so many awesome videos and things, and she's just such a wonderful resource. But I love that you're very easy to understand, very approachable in the way
Thank
you
you.
educate and share, and like teaching very relevant, timely things that actually, I mean, we didn't actually even mention it, but we were talking about before about applying the Dewy on the lips. You know, such a great tip is
instant plumping.
yes, patting the dewy on the lips and getting that, you know, just the fun ways to use products. So make sure you follow Dr.
Oh,
Trisha Khanna. She's just the best. And I love our chats. And
thank you. Mwah. You're the best.
all right, everyone. Thank you so much for the chat. We will be checking the comments, answering your questions still. It's always such a great chat. If you have any questions about your skin or skincare routine or anything, you can always reach out to support@gopurebeauty.com. Join our VIP group. If you are not in our VIP community, we have an amazing VIP community on Facebook, which is such an amazing resource. And then you can follow us on socials as well at Go Pure Beauty. So thank you so much. You all have a great night. And thank you again, Dr.
Have a great
Khanna.
night.
Bye.
Bye.